Adam, what very few people about you know about you probably is that you're with the CIA.
I am
in one capacity or another, but obviously, good news. It's not the spies. It's actually the culinary guys, which is the Culinary Institute of America. And I know, and I've kind of obviously we do some research on the people that come on the show on a good day. Today was a good day, and we spoke to some people. In the Hilton space beforehand as well, and asked about tried to find out some of the things that are dear to your heart beyond Hilton. And one of the things that we did find was precisely the whole idea of the Culinary Institute, or frankly any form of bringing the next gen closer perhaps to this industry, to culinary experiences and so on and so forth. That seems to be, also judging by your LinkedIn feed, if you don't mind me saying so, that seems to be something that is close to your heart every here and there. Talk me through that, because there's this conception of, and you just mentioned earlier, some of the coming generations, whether it's Alpha, Generation Z, Millennials, whatever. There's this conception of hospitality that is incredibly hard work. Mostly true, let's be honest, largely true, especially if you're on the front line with guests, with average pay at best, excluding tips, and there's this nudge that you have to be built for hospitality. Now, clearly, most of us that are working in hospitality have some form of craziness in us, that we love people and it's great to meet new faces and so on and so forth. How do you see that progressing? Perhaps also speaking from the experience that you have with the Institute.
Yeah, listen, I think. One, the Culinary Institute of America is the best institution in the world, probably, for culinary arts, because it doesn't just address the idea of cooking. Mm-hmm. It addresses the concept of you owning your own restaurant, running your own business. Yeah. You can now go to the Culinary Institute of America and specialize in social media for food, for food PR and communications, for wine, for the crafting of beer. So there's all these different disciplines. Yeah. They've evolved tremendously to ensure that we're meeting the needs of this ever-evolving industry. At one point it was just cooks. When you left the Culinary Institute of America, when I did, a long time ago, I'm not going to say too much more about that. It was a long time ago.
5 years at best.
You could be a chef, or a sous chef, or a banquet chef in a hotel. Yeah. And if you were going to the front of the house, which many of us back then did not, you were going to be a restaurant manager, a banquet manager, and maybe a wine sommelier. That was kind of it. Yeah. Now, the list of choices of what you could do, and what happened, I think, for me, what I've seen in how my career and staying connected to the school, as the industry evolved and I evolved and my thinking evolved into what I wanted to do, those options became present for me. Yeah. And I had the foundation of an education from that school to be able to do anything I wanted to do, actually. So they have continued to evolve, continued to met the business where it needs to be. But I think students going there now, the industry hasn't changed to the point where you don't need to do your time. It's still an industry where you need to do your time. You need to put in that work. You need to do the hustle, as we say, in Hilton speak. And it's important in this industry to have to go through that process. Yeah. It's, dare I say, a rite of passage. Yeah. You have to be able to understand if you want to become a leader, you have to understand what every single position goes through. You have to understand what their life is like. You have to understand when they get on the floor and they're working a 12-hour shift and they're on their feet and they're waiting tables and they're taking care of guests, you have to be able to ensure you could support them, that you could look for ways to continue to make their job better, to be able to ensure you're giving the best level of experience, and so on it goes. And that goes for every single level. So, I mean, listen, when I was in high school, I started when I was 16 years old. I got a full-time job in a restaurant. I worked full-time throughout all of high school. I went on a very conventional track to normal college, if you will, normal college. I didn't really want to. I was kind of forced the hand. So I dropped out, and I put myself through the Culinary Institute of America. And I worked full-time from that. But I missed, up until I joined Capella Hotels and Resorts in 2018. I missed almost every single Christmas, New Year's, birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, and that's a fact. But that was a commitment that I made. And so that commitment to the industry, if you're committed and you're really committed to this industry, the world is your oyster, and the benefits are really large. But you got to love the business. You got to love the business of people taking care of people. You got to love hospitality at the core of what we do. Because if that is your guiding light, then everything else should speak to that and should work towards that to make sure it's good for the guest and good for the people that are working for you. It'll then be good for everybody else that invests in your business. And the Culinary Institute of America, back to that, I mean, they again have continued to meet the industry where it is. They're continuing to evolve. We have a brand new president there, Michael Bacher. He was with Google and in charge of their global food service. So he's coming to he's coming to the institution, and I was, as part of the board of trustees, I was part of the hiring for that position. And he's coming to the school with this fresh new perspective, living and breathing the world of technology for so many years. And how is that going to now play into what we do at the school, which I think is only going to continue to keep us relevant.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for listening. Your hospitality hooked? Then follow us on our social media channels so you don't miss out on any new episodes. Work hard, travel harder.